to this event. Are you ready, guys, to start? Thumbs up. Let's give it a go. All right. So welcome to LinkedIn Personal Branding. I'm really excited to bring to you this topic. Today we speak about five surprising ways to get your personal brand to stand out on LinkedIn. This event is recorded, as you noticed, and you'll have access via a link that you'll receive in your on your inbox. Let me give you a little bit of an insight on the agenda. We keep it interactive. It's various. So we will have a main speaker, which will have a content block about the 5 surprising ways to get your personal brand to stand out on LinkedIn. Then I will share with you a very effective LinkedIn lead generation strategy. We will have a Q&A, so please remember to take a note of your questions or insights. You either can input them in the chat box, or you can put them aside for the interactive moment. Okay, we will have then 2 spotlights. We have 2 amazing members joining us from different parts of the world. And then, of course, we wrap it up with another Q&A. We really want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions, to share with us your experience. So I want to give you an introduction, because the reason why I organized this event around this topic is because I find it very important. And also we have a couple of experts in our community talking about this, but one in particular I want to introduce to you today. Your LinkedIn identity is your professional reputation. Do you guys agree with me? It is nowadays. Your LinkedIn identity is your professional reputation. And it is also known as your personal brand. It reflects other people's opinion of you as a professional leader, the associations they make when they think about you, and what you do or don't do well. In this event, you'll discover why your personal brand is central to the LinkedIn environment, how by differentiating yourself from the competition, you show your uniqueness and impress anyone that looks at you online via LinkedIn. And we know that on Google, they actually check your LinkedIn profile first, and then they check news about you or your company's website. And how working on your brand can actually help you promote your content, generate leads, and find partnership opportunities on LinkedIn. I want you to meet the main speaker, BANGA. He's an entrepreneur, a strategic communication consultant at Public Image. Derek works with organizations and professionals on improving their emotional intelligence, communication, and soft skills to increase their earning potential. His clients are in banking, telecoms, hospitality, media, non-profit, and manufacturing. He has worked with senior executives, professionals, athletes, public figures, politicians, and students. And no further ado, Derek, I really want to have this interactive conversation with you. And you guys get ready for an insightful discovery session about LinkedIn personal branding, interactive session, little bit different from what we prepared in the past. We will have Q&A blocks and fine networking. All right, Derek, no further ado. I really want to share the stage with you and ask you a few questions. Where are you, Derek? Okay. Someone can please confirm that you have a good audio. Can you hear me? All right, so I'm going to ask you, Duncan, to join again, because I have a good feedback from the rest of the guys. So just join again. Maybe it's your audio that is not working. Thank you for that. All right. Derek, are you in the room? Can you hear me? And can you unmute yourself and just join me in this conversation? Can someone see Derek?
I see his name, and it looks like his mute thing is on.
He's mute. All right, so bear with me, guys. We really rarely experience issues on these events, but just give me 1 second so I can. Okay, maybe he just lost the connection. So let's give him a second to join again. Can I ask you guys, in the meantime, while we solve this, can I ask you what attracted you to this event? What was the specific thing that really made you click that button and join the room today? It might be the topic itself. It might be the process that we have on keeping up with you when you register. It might be that you have some challenges at the moment with your LinkedIn profile that you look forward to solving today. Just let me know into the chat box. So we kind of keep the conversation going while I figure out what's going on with our main speaker. All right, just share it into, okay, so the topic itself and about how to make partnership through LinkedIn, personal relationships. That sounds awesome. Okay. To see what others are doing and share what I am doing. That sounds awesome, Andrea. Sounds good. What else, guys? What do you actually I consider myself to be an eternal student, and since LinkedIn is big part of my business, I love to hear other person's insight and tips. I want to promote myself. LinkedIn is a way. Amazing, indeed, it is. It was a topic I hadn't really paid any attention to in the past, so I thought I drop in. Indeed, thank you so much, guys. Okay, so I see we have Derek again. I just saw him and it
right
disappeared
here,
again.
my
Derek, oh my
yes.
God, yes. So I made the introduction and everything. It happens, you know, it happens sometimes. That's why we actually have this amazing relationship with our guests. They always understand that this is actually a virtual environment and sometimes we experience some technical difficulties. I made the introduction. I already told them who you are and what you do. If you want to greet our guest, and then I just prepare some questions for you to lead the conversation into what our guest might find insightful.
Fantastic, Ramona, and my apologies. I have experienced technical difficulties at the most inopportune time. However, we will soldier on. I hope there's no feedback. So I am delighted to be here to talk about a topic that is, I think, part of my DNA, how to brand yourself, not just offline, but online as well. And today we're going to talk about surprising ways. It's actually going to be a conversation rather than a presentation. And I say surprising because these may be ways that you may not have thought. I think most of us do know that, particularly if you're on this call, that using LinkedIn can promote your personal brand. We do the usual. We will comment on posts. We may even, if we have time, post something, put up some articles. But there may be other ways that you perhaps are not promoting your brand. And for me, your brand is your reputation. In the words of Jeff Bezos, it's what people say when you're not in the room. So I am excited to have this conversation. Ramona.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, Derek. I'm excited to have this conversation with you and with our audience as well. So I'm going to start with some questions. And again, we will have a Q&A, but if you feel like you want to ask a question relevant to the conversation itself, just type it into the chat box, okay? So Derek, when we spoke, you've said that everyone should treat LinkedIn, especially their LinkedIn profile,
Yes.
as their home, their house, right? What exactly do you mean by that? And how does it relate to your personal brand?
Well, Ramona, just think of your home, your house, your apartment. If you were to invite guests over for dinner, for a meal, for some sort of an event, most people will do the necessary. They will tidy up their homes. They will put out their best cutlery. They will make sure that their home is as welcoming and as inviting for the guests. I don't think there's anybody here who would throw a party and have the house looking in shambles. Well, you know what? A lot of us treat our LinkedIn profiles exactly like that. Your LinkedIn profile is your connection to everybody. Let's forget about the 800 million people on LinkedIn. We already know those statistics. But everybody else around the world, if they type in your name on Google, will most likely, the first hit will be their LinkedIn profile. And so we should take care of our homes, our apartments, our LinkedIn profiles. And some of the ways to do that, for example, are to make sure that they are promoting you at your best, your professional best. And I'm going to talk about some things like typos. I'm going to talk about things like spelling errors, grammatical mistakes, which most of us perhaps don't even think about. But you know what? It is these little things that give someone or other people a clue into who you are as a personal brand. Now, listen, I'm as human as the next person. I've got big hands. Sometimes I might type an S instead of a T, the occasional typo. To err is human. However, I think making sure we can minimize, indeed eliminate simple things like that. Simply tell people that we're professional, we're at the top of our game, and if they are to do business with us, they should expect the same type of professional treatment, if you will. So go through your LinkedIn profiles, check them out, make sure that those little errors that a lot of us are prone to are actually taken care of. That's what I meant.
Yeah. I think it's quite interesting, and I bet that a lot of people in the room, they can confirm. Sometimes it's very useful to make someone else check your profile because you are like in the tunnel and you don't see the little errors, right? And sometimes it's very useful to make it check outside, right? So this webinar is about surprising ways to build your brand on LinkedIn. And I remember our conversation was quite insightful because I said, oh my God, you really captured my attention. So I want to really uncover some of these ways, right? I've heard you mention your LinkedIn picture is important. Tell us more about that.
Oh, Ramona, a picture tells 1,000 words. So first of all, do have a picture. All right, let's start right there. Can you believe in 2022, there's still people who don't have a picture on their LinkedIn profile? I mean, that's the first thing that people see. They'll see the picture, obviously. They'll see the background or the header to your LinkedIn profile. So have a picture, and have a picture as how you currently look. So you should be updating that picture every 6 to 12 months. All right. You want to give people the authentic version of you. So have a picture. Now, a couple of things with a picture. First of all, it's your face, right? That is where we are centered on. We want it where it's clean, it is pixel free. So they say roughly 400 by 400 pixels. I think the maximum is 8 megabytes. So pick a really nice picture. Actually, you know what? Have somebody else take that picture of you. I know a lot of us have maybe selfie sticks, or we take our own picture because, you know, our smartphones are really advanced. But having somebody else take a picture of you actually makes you come across better. All right. We want adequate lighting so people can see your entire face. All right. We want to see your eyes. We want to see your smile. Let me talk a little bit about that. In fact, they say that if you smile in your picture, that you come across as more influential. You come across as certainly more likable. And shall we say, maybe even more competent. Now, having said that, your picture is a representation of your brand. And some brands may be a little bit more serious than others. But even for the person who maybe doesn't like their smile, you don't like to show your teeth, there is something called your neutral position with your mouth. And if you have your mouth slightly upturned, that gives a hint, if you will, at a smile. And that's more likely than not to connect to the people who are looking at your profile picture. one final point that I will note is there is something called the rule of 2/3. And those of you who are into photography may know a little bit about this. So if you look at the frame of any picture or camera, if you divide that picture, that frame into thirds, so you can divide it into 3 pieces going horizontally and 3 pieces going vertically. You generally want to be in the top third so that your eyes are in the top third of the picture. Now, you can also place it so that you are in, say, the second third of your picture, or the third third, I should say. And that, again, just makes it easier for the brain that is looking at the picture of the person who is in that photo, and easier for them to connect. So spend a little bit of time on your profile picture. Don't just take any picture, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can wear, maybe the background, but certainly having a great picture, to me, is one of the great ways that you can advance your personal brand. Ramona?
And is it valid also for events? Like when you are in a setup like this one and you have like a, oh, that's great to know. You know, because I've done a lot of events, meetings, demos online, and it's good to know also for these events that we have to stay in a certain part of the frame, let's say.
Yeah.
And
yeah, again,
right?
So you can notice me, I'm in the top third here. And also what you can notice is that you can actually see my hands. So this is just going a little bit beyond your profile picture. You can see my hands, my gestures, amplifying my words. I'm able to communicate like this. So it's not just my head, particularly in the virtual meeting that we're having or the webinar. So that's just a little trick or a clue. Yeah.
So now let's talk about the colors, right? Because it's the picture and the colors, specifically the psychology of color, LinkedIn and your brand. So how the things are combined together. Can you thread the needle for us?
Let me go ahead and do that. So first of all, let's talk about the colors that you wear. Now, I alluded to this earlier in terms of what you wear, and generally wear something that you would generally wear in your line of business. So if you're more, so we say, professionally inclined, you're going to dress up a little bit. I love, dressing up. I'll do my ties and what have you, but not everybody, of course, does that. But wear something that represents the business that you are in. Having said that, your colors are so important. The psychology of color, Ramona. So here we go. Blue, the color of trust. It's the most popular color in business. Green, the color that is a little bit more calming and even connecting. Yellow, the color of happiness. Red, the color of power. Orange, okay, the color of connectivity. So again, choose colors that are going to represent your brand or the brand of your business. And further to that, we all have different skin tones. Some of us are darker skin toned, some of us are lighter skin toned. Now I will say this, if you're lighter skin toned and you're wearing colors that tend to wash you out, that actually affects your profile picture. So avoid pastels, avoid whites, avoid neutral colors, go with your bold emerald greens, your navies, your purples, your reds, your yellows. So you can really showcase and be as flattering to your skin tone as possible with the colors that you wear in that picture. If you're a lady, you can even wear jewelry, again, that accentuates those colors, or at least jewelry that has those particular colors. And then one final thing, Ramona, I'll add is the background photo. Now, a lot of us will have our profile photo, but there is no background photo, or it's a neutral background photo. You can use that. You can use that background picture. So you can actually take your picture, place it on a particular color. And again, just using the psychology of color, yellow, blue, green, and have that as your background photo, and that will help people connect with you better. Yeah.
Well, I love what you're saying, and I just want to emphasize the fact that it seems that is not relevant to the entire brand. Like we are talking here about LinkedIn and some aspects of LinkedIn, right? The picture and some aspects of the picture itself, some aspects of the LinkedIn profile, but it's so relevant to who's visiting your profile. They actually have a first impression. And if you can connect the color and the feelings of your brand with an instant image that represents you, you create that likability and trustability that we need online, right? That's why we are speaking about this.
You're absolutely
Indeed.
correct, Ramona. In fact, there are studies that say that up to 55% of communicating who we are, just as individuals, is just in the image. Now, you know, we can have an intellectual conversation. Are those numbers sort of that relevant? But if we're saying up to 55% and people are making sort of an instant connection with you, then why not use some of this knowledge, uncommon knowledge, might I add, just to enhance your brand? Yeah.
Indeed. All right. So we do these webinars, right? As I said previously, we do them monthly, sometimes twice per month, and we have a very long experience with these webinars. And we discuss very often how to use LinkedIn more effectively, how to generate leads, how to be more engaging, how to create content, etc. Do you want to speak to how this will help your brand?
Sure. I mean, events like this, Ramona, that you've been putting together for all these years, I think are, first of all, a wonderful way for people to connect. So part of advancing our personal brand is attending webinars, events, just like this. Sign up for them, increase your knowledge, connect with individuals from around the world, get experts, hopefully, to give their tailored recommendations. And so you can begin to also advance your brand. I mean, if we all connect here on LinkedIn, I can find out you're an expert in this, you're an expert in that, so that you're actually connecting to a wider world. And it's not just about meeting, professionals. You get perspectives from different people. Hopefully we'll have some Q&A, and it's not even my way or the highway. Just this sharing of knowledge and different perspectives, learning from other people, experiencing what other people have to say, only helps with this brand building. And then, of course, we can hopefully generate new leads and gain access to, all of this different type of material. Yes, Ramon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who join our events and who work with us and who are parts of our activities online, they really understand one aspect of LinkedIn is a team game. And you can team up on LinkedIn in so many ways, joining groups, joining events, leveraging your own network in order to understand industry activities that you can do online that will connect you with prospective clients. So it's really a good aspect that you highlighted here. And I just want to interact very quickly with the audience. And I want to ask you, guys, do you participate regularly to online events? And when you are online in setups like this, do you share your data? Do you connect with the other members? Do you follow up? And how many times do you follow up? Because I can give you an insight on how to actually leverage these events and never have to do nothing else. Because if you connect with 40 people in the room today, you might land at least 20 conversations and at least 10 sales opportunities, maybe not to sell directly, but to be referred. So events are a great way. And I really want to listen to you in the chat box. I want to read your answers. Do you participate to events like this, and how often? Do you connect with the people in the room and share your data, of course? And do you follow up many times after in order to create a relationship? That's the secret of leveraging this event. So, Derek, I know you specifically wanted me to ask you a question, and it was kind of funny, right? Because I wrote it down. What does the Bible have to do with your LinkedIn profile? And I'm really, really curious.
Right. I think it's this point in the event when we ask people, so how many people here have read the Bible or familiar with the contents of the Bible? So anyway, I will go ahead and say this. We have people obviously from across the world and of different faiths, but the Bible has what we call the 10 Commandments. All right. Now, for those who are in the know, what are the 10 Commandments, right? Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not do this and do the other. there is an 11th commandment, certainly according to the Bible of yours humbly, Brother Derek. And that 11th commandment, ladies and gentlemen, is thou shalt not be boring. Hello, hello. It is a sin to be boring. Now, this is the thing, Ramona, right? You go on LinkedIn and you go on somebody's profile and your life has not moved 1 inch, not 1 iota. Nothing in your world has been shaking up. So what can we do to jazz up our LinkedIn profiles, to make people actually stay there, you know, find a little bit more about us and obviously connect with us, right? So we've talked about this before in some of these events from some of our previous speakers about your background, your captivating headlines. So I won't go into the details of that. Suffice it to say, please do work on it. Let it be a little bit interesting, you know, using the right words so that you can jazz up your profile, so to speak. But LinkedIn provides such rich media if you're not in the know. You can have videos. You can actually have a audio recording of how your name is pronounced. In fact, if you go into creator mode on LinkedIn, this actually will give you access to all of these wonderful, rich LinkedIn features, which make your LinkedIn profile a little bit more interesting and not as boring as the next one. Even when you're commenting or posting, did you know that you can use memes, you can use GIFs, you can use emojis? LinkedIn has provided all of this. Yes, some people may tend to overuse them, but using them every once in a while just makes you come across as a little bit more interesting. How about, you know, in terms of when and how you comment, jokes, puns, pop cultural references? I mean, yes, it's a professional site. I get it. However, there is still a little leeway for you to show a little bit of your personality within the bounds of your professional brand. Inject a little bit of personality into your posts and comments. I think for those of you who've been on the receiving end of some of my comments, hello, Paulina. I try to, just make it a little bit more interesting. Sure, I can say thank you. I can, hit the like button. Nothing wrong with that. But I think being a little bit more interesting, having a little bit of humor in this, world that we live in, only makes you come across, or your brand certainly come across a little bit more interesting. Ramona, what do you think about that?
I actually find it very insightful. Yeah, it's funny. I remember when you jumped into our, comments and community. I remember you stood out because you were using GIFs, for example, to comment, to give a thumbs up, to make a smile, to clap, to share something very funny. And I did not change my opinion of you as a very serious professional delivering high value. I just added on top of that a little bit of humanity. And what we have to remember today in this virtual environment is that we are still referring to humans, human beings. And so sometimes a smile will bring a lot more likability and trustability that goal achieved or, a task completed with professionalism. So it adds on top of that. And I know that a lot of professionals coming from the old ways of doing business, they find it kind of hard to have that twist, that funny aspect. But I think it's very, very useful to humanize a little bit this virtual interaction. So I have a final question. And of course, we can vary so much, but I really want to give space to the audience to ask more specific questions to you. So I know that you have this quote, and I would like to, to tell us more about it. If you are not embarrassed by the first version, it's too late. Right. Go on and tell us more about that.
If you're not embarrassed by the first version, it's too late. Now, that's advice I should have taken myself, but I'm going to share it with everybody who's on this call. Just do it. There's another quote, if you will. That's the Nike slogan. Just do it. Just do that first post. Just make that first comment. just go in and set up that first event. Just go in and, say something that's going to stir a little bit of debate. I think a lot of us, particularly as professionals, we tend to want to sort of shy away, particularly if we don't have, and part of being this engagement circle, which we're going to talk about, is about generating content, and we're talking about content. So sometimes just go with something that you think is interesting, that has captured your attention, that has captured your imagination, and more likely than not, you will get somebody else to either comment on it or give some feedback on it. And that's why I say, if it's embarrassing, because sometimes we're like, oh my God, we cringe. Really? Is that what I said? It's okay. All right. People's lives are too busy to worry about that. Yeah, hopefully they'll engage. And then as you become a little bit more familiar and a little bit more, a little bit more familiar with how to put out relevant content, then, we can sort of see you carving your own path, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And that's all about how it should be today, because we think that we have to prepare upfront, but it's not like that anymore. It's a constant conversation with our audience and figuring out what they need, what they find relevant. And if you don't start this kind of conversations about what you find interesting, just planting a little seed and see what grows out of it, it will never become like a conversation, right? We just push our own ideas, our own perfect content, but we actually don't have a conversation with our online audiences, right? Derek, we can go on and speak about many other things. I remember you shared with me the power of three, the contact team for the mobile friendly post. I just want to make sure that we have a conversation with the room, right? So I will stop for a moment and I will allow people to already ask some questions. And you can go from very simple questions to more complicated questions, something that, we have so many of us in the room that are very familiar with all the features on LinkedIn. So just go ahead and provide insight or ask a question, unmute yourself, show your face or not. I just want to create this interactive moment. And by the way, thank you for sharing your activity around events. It's great to know that you guys join events and engage. All right. So who wants to start with the questions?
Derek, I'll ask a question. So it took me a long, long time to get onto LinkedIn because I'm in health coaching and yoga teaching and things like that. And it doesn't seem like I would find people interested in my services through this platform. Now I have joined Ramona's group and but I really don't expect to get business this way, but I do build myself up as an authority. And just because, people want to get to know you in a different way if they want you to be their yoga teacher or health coach. So can you address that, with, industries like mine, which are, I would say, not your typical LinkedIn industry?
Andrea, thank you for that question. It's interesting. I was just a couple of days ago talking to somebody who is an actor. He's an actor on TV series. And I was talking to him a little bit about, this LinkedIn event and other LinkedIn events that I have. And he said something very interesting. He said, you know what? My last gig I found through LinkedIn. So he wasn't quoted through his IMDb profile, but through LinkedIn. Andrea, I think all professions, and particularly interesting professions like yours, where, LinkedIn, here we, full of accountants, full of project managers, but somebody with your background, certainly your perspective, your experiences, which of course I've been privy to, I think only makes this platform more engaging, more enriching, and gives me a reason to connect with people like you, to stay on with people like you, and you have no idea whom you might be able then to connect me with. So I hope that answers your question. I would absolutely recommend that, you know, people like you do use LinkedIn.
Yeah, because one of the most healthy channels is referrals. So you might not find directly your clients on LinkedIn, but you might be referred because you are relevant, you are visible on the biggest platform in the world, right? All right, so who else? Okay, so we have a question in the chat box, and then I will ask again the audience. My question, how many times should one update their LinkedIn profile? Every day, twice, or thrice in a week? And how many posts should one have per day, or does that depend with your career?
Okay, Ramona, we have a lot of LinkedIn specialists on this call, so I'm going to be very careful with this particular answer. I think you should update your LinkedIn profile as often as, say, your goals might change. Certainly your career changes, or if you get, you know, new opportunities. Every day? No, certainly not. I think you should be on LinkedIn at least once a day, or perhaps comment once a day, or post, or have some sort of activity. In terms of posts, well, you know, listen, we're all professionals here. We're all living so-called busy lives, but LinkedIn is where you need to be a little bit more strategic. You need to be able to carve out time for you to be able to post on LinkedIn, to comment and have that sort of activity on LinkedIn, just because the return on that investment is really great. So I would say at least 2 to 3 times a week. And again, Ramona, maybe you can correct me if you want and say maybe go on more often, but I'd say at least 3 to 4 times a week, you should be posting, commenting, or have some activity on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Was that the complete question? Yes. Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so let me add one little aspect about that. So we really have to consider 3 aspects, right? First of all, the goal. What's the goal? It could be brand awareness. So it's about updating your profile as often as you have a brand change, a brand launch, right? So you want to update the profile based on service launches or product launches or things that are relevant, that will make you relevant to your audience. If you are generating lead generation, then you should change your profile and update your content with a certain regularity. Okay, so update this to your profile. That means that if you have something going on that is relevant right now, you should update every aspect of your profile. The first area of lead conversion, the cover, the links under your title. Then you should update the second area of lead conversion, which is the future ready, the about section. And then, of course, in the part of the experience, which many professionals still use as a CV, as a curriculum, just listing the experiences, while the pros are using it as a brochure of your services. Well, that area needs updated also, right? So with a certain regularities. Okay, in terms of the content, it really depends on your schedule and how much time you have to create content. And then the third aspect, if you use it for work, to search work, then it really has to be personalized. And we have someone here that really knows about that. It has to be personalized on the industry you're targeting, the position you're targeting, the employer you are targeting, right, Summer? Agree with me? She agrees with us, Derek. All right. I just wanted to add a little bit more strategy on LinkedIn. You have to have a strategy.
That's what we talk about, having a strategy, right?
All right. So top of the hour, because we still have a little bit to go here. We have 2 spotlights. And I guess, guys, if you have further questions, I will ask you, please, either to put them into the chat box and stop a little bit toward the end and answer them, or continue the conversation with us on LinkedIn. Another moment to share your LinkedIn profiles into the chat box, and let's connect. Let's get all together into the LinkedIn and connect and continue the conversation. Let me just tell you what Derek was really, really excited to share with us today and offer to this community. as personal branding is an inside-out approach to maintain a track record of demonstrated excellence, you have to build your personal brand based on the principles of emotional intelligence. And I really like this association because it is so true, and emotional intelligence is very relevant today. And Derek uses his emotional intelligence certification from Genos International to help his clients in many other areas, but specifically in this one. And so I'm going to share a little bit more details with you via email with the recording for those of you that are interested, but usually I keep it very simple, very effective at these events, just to make sure that you guys have a way to continue the conversation with him. So the Genos Emotional Culture Survey is the most direct and impactful way to measure emotional culture, because the survey measures 3 distinct things to help identify whether or not emotion experience need to shift. So it measures experienced emotions, expected emotions, and ideal or desirable levels of emotions. And the only thing that you need to be able to stimulate in order for a prospective client to like you, to trust you, and to buy from you is the emotional aspect. So for further information, please contact directly Derek. I will share this in the chat with you, and you will receive further details via email. So let me tell you why we host these events, right? So this is Derek's contact. Please get in touch with him if you want to experience a little bit more this very interesting aspect of personal branding. So this event is hosted by the Engagement Circle, a group of amazing professionals with amazing LinkedIn content. What we do, we boost each other's engagement on LinkedIn. Started as a support for a program that I was running. It became a little family. I opened then this family to other amazing professionals to join us. So here's the thing. Your personal branding, awareness, visibility is just part of the LinkedIn game, all right? The other part is the lead generation. Do you have a strategy for that? As we said, you have to be very strategic in order to use this massive platform in order to bring in revenue, in order to really generate leads and quality leads and sales. All right. So my name is Ramona TUFARU. Of course, I'm as a host of this event, but you have to know that I'm founder of the LinkedIn Lead Machine. And my gift, the way I present to my audiences is that my gift is in the triggered pain of not being loved and not being seen and not being wanted. So in my work, what I do every single day, I set the stage for amazing professionals, as I am, to be seen, to be loved, and to be wanted. And one of the stages that I set first is LinkedIn, because it's easy, especially when you have a strategy and a process, all right? And especially when you are surrounded by amazing professionals. So this is the very simple strategy that I want to share with you here on LinkedIn, because you can have an amazing brand, but if you don't have clients, you don't have a business, right? So you need to make sure that you create clients. Once you create your personal brand and you have this amazing LinkedIn update, LinkedIn profile, and then you start to create content, you have to educate your audience. You have to become relevant to your prospects. You need to make sure that you reach your audience. So it's great to have the brand and the content, but then you really have to promote that content to bigger audiences in order to become an authority, to make it relevant, in order for people to buy from you. So the way we do this, there are so many ways, but the way we do this in this community, we actually leverage a LinkedIn engagement pod in order to make ourselves more visible to our audience. And do you guys know what is an engagement pod? Can you type yes or no into the chat box so I know where I stand with this audience? So this is a lead generation instrument. Yes, it also builds in brand awareness and visibility, but we strategically use it for lead generation in many, many ways, all right? So someone says yes, someone says no. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, the engagement pods are made up of groups of individuals, in this case, LinkedIn members, who have created a group to help each other generate engagement. So visibility and referrals, leads in a more conscious way. When one member puts up a post on LinkedIn, they will message the group and ask members to engage with the post in the form of comments or likes or shares if we have webinars or product launches to support the entire activity. And so the activity will be reciprocated by each member. So you actually have a group of people supporting your business. The aim of this is to build engagement on the members' post within the first 2 hours of posting. That's a requirement of the LinkedIn algorithm, right? If you push your content in the first 2 hours and it reaches a certain kind of activity, it will be shown to more and more audience, right? And you have leveraged your visibility first and your lead generation second. Our engagement pod is made up of a group of amazing professionals. We keep it intimate. We are very picky with the new members. And I think we really have created a really nice group of people. And so my invitation for you is first to learn more about engagement pods as a way to generate leads. Second, at our, of course, engagement circle, because this is part of what we do. You are experiencing right now something that one of our members or more members will experience as well. The organization of events for you, the lead generation done for you, the support that you'll find inside the group, all right? So I will give you more details into the chat box. Just go and visit our page. What I want to introduce to you today, and that's the reason why I'm talking about this, is two amazing members of the engagement circle joining us from different parts of the world. We have ANDREA TRANK from Florida, and we have Robert BARTRAM from Europe, from Switzerland, joining us. They are members of the group, and I usually do a very simple thing. I ask them some questions, of course. This, as I said, is a nice networking opportunity, a stage for us to become more visible and more relevant to such an audience. And I just want to give them the opportunity to share their experience with the engagement circle. So I'm going to start with the ladies. Is that okay, Robert? Yes. Okay. So Andrea, briefly, like in 2-3 minutes, like, you know, the nice speech and the brief introduction, can you tell us who you are and what you're doing with whom? I know you shared a few more details previously, but can you give us a more detailed introduction?
Sure. I am Andrea TRANK, and I was a school teacher for many years, and I got burned out and developed some issues such as anxiety and some health problems. And so when I left the classroom, I went back to learn to teach people how to be healthier. So I first became a yoga teacher, and after that, I became a certified health coach. And after that, I became a certified HeartMath trainer and clinical coach, focusing primarily on people who have anxiety, gut issues, chronic health issues, and trauma. And just to let you know, I've just experienced a trauma myself. I was in the direct path of Hurricane Ian, and I'm not in my home right now. We didn't evacuate and the floodwaters came up. So it was a very frightening thing. So I've been posting a lot about my own personal experience. And I think that's what makes me unique. I'm very authentic. I've lived this journey. And so when I work with people, they know that I've had to work on these issues myself. I have a lot of compassion and care for people who are struggling. So.
Andrea, thank you so much for sharing. You know what? You said previously that you didn't join LinkedIn to find clients, right? You joined it mostly to become an authority and make yourself more relevant. How are you experiencing the engagement circle? How are you experiencing the client creation process? And content sharing, such a vulnerable and authentic content, how it resonates for LinkedIn members?
Well, again, and as Priscilla put in the chat, I am willing to share whatever I do pretty freely. I'm an older person, and so I think I'm past my prime of becoming a superstar in terms of earning. But I have a passion and a purpose to serve and to help people. And so the connections I've made with the people, in fact, for me, it's been wonderful actually being involved in what they're doing as well. So like I've attended Priscilla's things, and I comment on literally everybody. You'll see me comment. I don't ever skip commenting because I just really believe in helping each other. And then I actually hired one of our members to help do an audit for me. So I have learned from all the people, and I feel like when they need my assistance, because people are only going to get to me when they're really needing my assistance. If they have deep anxiety issues, or if they come across a chronic health issue. So I don't expect people to just join in with me out of the blue, but you know, I keep posting and educating people and sharing my knowledge freely. And at that point, you know, there will be a time where they're going to say, Andrea, I need you. I'm experiencing something. And then they'll really see what I'm about. But I have shared a yoga class, and I know Ramona tried my yoga class. I shared a free yoga class, and I have a YouTube channel with like over 350 videos of things that I share freely to people. They can find me by my name or the place I used to live, which I hope I get back to. I live on Heaven Lane, and Heaven Lane was flooded out. So
I
hopefully
really
I'll
hope
get back to that.
you will be able. Yes, you will. You know, we have a comment in the chat. Someone said, I'm amazed by Andrea's authenticity. Yeah.
And that's me. That's
me.
I am who I am.
Yeah, and I want to connect with that, because why is this relevant? The more authentic is your content, the more your brand is authentic, the more will connect online. It's not like in real life that you can add those nuances in your voice or the way you behave, your energy. Online, you really have to present this authenticity and alignment in order to capture the attention, because it's a very lousy environment, right? And so content, together with what Derek said, an alignment in branding and being conscious of all this aspect, is what really creates results in brand visibility and lead generation and more sales. All right, so we have someone with us that just joined it, and it's still not incredibly active, but has an amazing story to share. Robert BARTRAM from Switzerland. He's a corporate storyteller with a really big background, an important person in the room. Bob, I just want you to make an introduction of yourself and who you work with, what you do.
Sure. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Ramona, for that introduction. I'm not sure I can match it, but and thank you also, Derek and Andrea, for two in their different ways very inspiring talks. I hope, Andrea, we all pray that everything goes well for you and your family. So yes, as Ramona was saying, I transform. I'm a corporate storyteller, so I transform ordinary corporate narratives into accessible, high quality, and compelling content that inspires readers to take action. I create text that unites the people and purpose of companies. And my approach is ideal for crafting web and blog posts, fundraising papers, social media posts, speeches, newsletters, annual reports, white papers, brochures, and other visibility material. And I work mainly with pharmaceutical companies in Western Switzerland, Geneva, and interact on a regular basis with chief executives and their comms departments. In addition to content creation, I also act as a coordinating editor, so managing staff and other consultants, overseeing the day-to-day process that ensures all products are delivered on time and to the highest quality. I'm also going to be, as Ramona mentioned, I'm quite new to this. I'll be organising shortly, well, I'm organising, but holding monthly roundtables to discuss the importance of corporate storytelling, particularly in the pharmaceutical industry. And do check them on LinkedIn. And the first one is on the 2nd of November. And that concludes what I have to say. We're back to you, Ramona. Thank you.
Well, Bob, I want to congratulate you, because I know, yes, I know it it took you a big effort to do this, and I really appreciate this. And you know, it's a team game. I want to make sure that the audience understand this. Either you use your LinkedIn for brand awareness, so you need to have a compelling brand. Either you use it to become relevant, and maybe you are more present on other channels, but you have to be here because on Google, this is the first channel that comes out. You either use it and transition from an incredible background, and you need to be on a platform in order to showcase that, in order to create more leads, in order to land some cool business opportunities. The way you have to do it is the way we are showing you. You have to update your data, your window. You have to join events. You have to have the courage to become a little bit more vulnerable and share content or either a speech. You have to connect with people meaningfully, right? It's cool to have a personal brand, but actually what you really want is, at the end of the effort in that personal brand, is to want to have clients, right? You want to share your wisdom, make an impact. So that's why we organize these events. In the past, we used to deliver 1.5 hour content. Gosh, we educated everybody on LinkedIn lead generation. Summer knows, some of Erwin knows, some of our members, they are with us 2 years in this journey, right? And we delivered a lot of content. I actually wrote a book based on that content. But today is what we do. We show you how it really works. You have to be part of communities. You have to join events. And yes, you have to invest in optimizing your brand and creating really quality content. Who wants to ask questions and who wants to share an insight, or even, you know, variate a little bit on the topic and ask more, you know, strategic questions about how to combine brand with LinkedIn lead generation or other things. Come on, don't be shy. You have many experts in the room. Well, experts, you know,
Hi, Ramona.
someone that does this.
Hi,
Summer,
Ramona.
yes.
Hi. I would
Hi.
like to comment and share. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for sharing your experience. And I can share something that I followed you, Ramona, since maybe 2 years ago, starting with the LinkedIn lead generation. And I can tell that was a big shift, and you really were able to build the trust and trustability and connect with me. And by time well, I'm now with the engagement circle, where are they're amazing professional people. We all act like a family. We share experience. I'm happy with that. We have different kind of experts in that group. For example, for Andrea, it's an experience that I have to read her content, her experience, and share empathy, kindness, and understand more about what is she doing in LinkedIn. It's an amazing thing. It's like when I want to get some relief from the news, I read Andrea's post. When I want to get more structure in content, I read Paulina. When I want to listen to something related to passion, I listen to Erwin, and so on. The list is very long. It's very long, and it's really a combination of different experts sharing the experience. One of the things that I also learned from being in this wonderful group, in fact, is that being consistent in commenting, consistent in putting my reflection about the content that is there. I learned how to adjust my content to get more people, more views in my posts and the profile. So this is just a reflection. Thank you very much, Ramona, and the whole group. Back to you, Ramona.
Thank you, Summer. Thank you very much for the feedback, of course. And guys, I want questions for Derek. If you have questions about personal branding and you want to unmute yourself and stay another 5 minutes, we usually grant you another 5-10 minutes during this event. I am also very respectful of time. We usually just try to stay into the promised time. But if you want to stay another 5 minutes and talk about personal brand, profile optimization, LinkedIn stuff, and address what we just discussed, I'll be very happy to stay another 5-10 minutes. Just unmute yourself and pop in the question. Thanks, speakers. Thank you guys for being here. Okay, who wants to ask questions? Someone else? Thank you, Ramona and Derek, and the team for the good insights. Thank you so much, Wairimu. Thank you. Someone else that has questions?
I have a little question, Ramona. Erwin here. A little
Yes,
question for Derek.
Erwin.
On LinkedIn, you have your headline that most people put in their job or their role they're fulfilling. If you're smart, you pitch yourself over there. But I was wondering, would you use one pitch or would you change your pitch on a regular basis depending on what you want to focus on? Like, for instance, the mastermind or the engagement circle or coaching or whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question, Owen. I think you change it, as Ramona alluded to earlier, based on the goal that you have for that particular time. I have a particular pitch that I'm speaking to a particular segment or a particular market, and so it will remain that way. But if I was, I don't know, job hunting, for example, or wanted to switch to a particular career, then it would make sense, I think, to change it. So I think, yeah, that's how I would answer that particular question. I think it depends on your particular goal.
Yeah, I also agree with that. And I see Summer that she's also dealing with LinkedIn optimization for career search. We agree with that, Summer, right?
Yes, especially that it's very important that to include in your headline keywords that are related to the job and the competences that you want recruiters to find you. So the keywords is very important, and it's the thing that you should concentrate on from time to time. Thank you.
And if you are using it as a professional, pitching your services or your products, you should be very strategic with your first part of the headline and do keyword search based on the words that are very common and relevant for your target audience. You should also speak about them and not about you. There are some secrets that we actually shared all together in our group and with those that listen to our events, because the headline is so important. It's actually the first part, Erwin. You know, when you visit a profile and you see the first part of the profile, you see the cover, the picture, the headline. And now a lot of people don't know that you can add a link to your offer, entry to your funnel, to your website immediately after the headline. So you capture 50% of the leads just by adding that link, which is so automated to visit, right? So yeah, the headline is very strategic, and I would change it very often based on your focus, your goals.
Another way to say that, Ramona, is it's what you say before you say what you mean to say. I think I got that right. What you say before you say what you mean to say. So your headline is what grabs the attention. What you mean to say is obviously the detail into what your particular either job that you're looking for or market that you're targeting. So it's what you say before you say what you mean to say.
Indeed. That's really insightful. I love structure, you know, I love to put things into structure. I am aware of time, and just let me check the chat and see if we have other questions. There's just a lot of thank you very much for the feedback. I really appreciate the feedback that you shared with us in the chat box. If you don't have other questions, I will wrap up the event. We do these events once per month. Sometimes are incredibly technical, like we get into the nitty-gritty of some insightful aspects. Sometimes are interviews, sharing someone experience, because I think part of it is to gather data and implement knowledge and know-how. Part of it is also to create the opportunity for networking and lead generation moments through events. So join us, connect with us online, and keep in touch with our content, with our events, with our strategic activities in order to make you grow on LinkedIn. And thank you so much for being with us. You will receive the recording if you registered on our website. You will receive the recording plus other resources that we usually share via email. Helen, thank you so much for being here. Erwin, as always, you are on top of your game. Samar, always insightful questions and sharing. By the way, I thank you all for participating. Robert, I congratulate you, my friend. And Derek, thank you for everything that you shared. And I recommend people to connect with you. I know you provide a lot of good insight. I know you also have an amazing network. So connecting with you, it's not only an amazing conversation, but it's also access to contacts and further knowledge. All right, let's wrap it up. Maureen, thank you so much for being here. And all of you guys, I know that we chatted via messages. I hope to continue the conversation on LinkedIn. Keep it up. And remember that you are not alone in this game. Just connect. All right?
Thank you, everyone. Be genuine in a disingenuous world. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
everyone.
yes.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, I just received a message here from Chris, and I want to thank you, Chris. I'm passionate about the things brand, and having developed an online UI personal branding toolkit, I'm keen to hear what is said about personal branding in relation to LinkedIn. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Chris. I hope people saw it and shared it as well. Thank you for engaging, for a very engaging session. Well, it was our pleasure. I'm
Thanks,
going to
Chris.
save this because I want to visit this link. Chris, thank you so much for sharing. All right, I'm going to close the event. Thank you all. I will see you next time. Take care of you wherever you are.